All right, good evening, everybody. Tonight, the attendance was 19,731 sold out here at Arena CDMX. It was the highest grossing event in UFC history, and also the highest grossing event in Arena CDMX's history. We've also broke our merch sales for record in Mexico for UFC. 4 performance bonuses tonight: Chairez, Martinez, Gauthier, and Torres. The other thing I wanted to mention is something that was announced during the co-main event tonight. We will be returning to Mexico, to Guadalajara in September for UFC 320 at Noche UFC, presented by Bud Light, live from Arena Guadalajara on September 13th, Saturday, September 13th. So our return to Mexico and also the next installment of Noche UFC. All right, open the floor to questions.
Hi, Dave. Rodrigo del Campo from Claro Sports here.
Hello.
Obviously, a great announcement. The announcement of Guadalajara. Dana, in this room last year, said that he was looking forward to the arena being finished and going to the arena. Yet, the arena presents a 1-month delay today. There were a lot of concerts booked between February and March and April. What are the assurances that the promoter and the arena have given you for your date to be reserved for the pay-per-view?
I mean, we've been in constant contact with them, enough so to be able to announce tonight. If we weren't confident, we wouldn't be announcing the fight.
Perfect. Your broadcasting partner now in Mexico, Fox Sports Mexico, has been going through a downfall in the last few months. They're being sued in the U.S. by CONCACAF. They've lost Premier League, FA Cup. They had an issue with the NFL due to lack of payment. It's been kind of difficult. They've been almost sold to the Murdoch family again. What is your current relationship with Fox Sports Mexico?
Strong. If you saw the front row tonight behind the Octagon, Dana's section, front row in Dana's section, we had a number of executives from Fox Sports Mexico. The relationship that we've had with them has been nothing but excellent. They've been firm supporters of the UFC for a very long time. They invest heavily in content. They build profiles of our athletes. They help promote our events. They've been great partners for us. Have read a number of things in the newspapers about the status of their business here in Mexico, and they've given us assurances that we go through the end of year with them, and there'll be no disruption to the UFC and Fox Sports Mexico partnership through 2025.
And just one last by myself. This is the first time in 10 years that the UFC will be in Mexico twice in a single calendar year. Oh. Last happened in 2015 with Mexico City and Monterrey, November, the only visit you did to Monterrey. How excited are you to finally, it might not be repeated again in 2026, right? But how excited is the UFC to finally come to Mexico 10 years later, twice in a single calendar year?
Yeah, I mean, it's important for our strategy in Mexico and in Latin America for us to come more than once. It's also the 1-year anniversary of our Performance Institute opening, which is probably, it's an accolade and an accomplishment that our entire team is really proud of. We've planted our flag. Like, we're here. If anyone, was at the opening 12 months ago and then has returned at any point in the last 12 months, there's been a lot of progress at the PI. All week we had athletes who had come in. Actually, for the prior 3 or 4 weeks, athletes had come in early. I think when I spoke to a guy named Tim who works at the Performance Institute, he told me that over half the card was training at the Performance Institute in advance of this fight, obviously to acclimate to the altitude here, but also just to take advantage of the quality services, the equipment, and the facilities that we've got there. So to answer your question, how excited are we? I mean, we're thrilled. 2 events in Mexico this year. The next installment of Noche, as we've talked about, and just further success of the UFC Performance Institute here.
Dave, over here.
Yes, sir.
We were supposed to see Kelvin Gastelum and Joe Pyfer this card, but it got canceled today, the day of. Is there plans to get that rebooked sometime soon, or what's?
I don't know. I mean, I heard that Joe Pyfer he just got sick. So I don't think it's anything long term. I'm not sure, but probably find out more this week.
Yeah. Will Kelvin get compensated for?
Yeah, they'll take care of him for sure. Yeah, Dana always does.
And you announced the UFC announced a show in Guadalajara. Why Guadalajara, and why do you guys think the time is right now?
Well, there's a few things. One, it's a brand new arena, and we like to be involved when arenas open. Number 2, number of athletes from the city and the region. Number 3, we took a really big step forward, and if you'd experienced the Noche at the Sphere, it was a remarkable moment in our company's history. It's one of the more kind of professionally ambitious things that we've ever done. If you think about, like, we've got, our 42 events. And our events are pay-per-views and they're fight nights. And then we've got all of these other brands that sit on top of our events that help exemplify, the true state of athleticism that our athletes bring. Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter, Road to UFC, what we did with Fight Island. And now you've got this franchise, this brand called Noche. Bringing Noche to Mexico for the first time is something that was really important to Dana, important to Borsari, and a number of the other members of our team. And so I think to come back and celebrate Mexican culture again on the weekend of Independence Day is really important for us. You ask about the date, that's why. It'll be 3 years in a row now that we've come on the date. And to come back and actually celebrate Noche here after 2 years in the States was an important decision for us.
And you mentioned Mexico and Latin America, but we haven't seen the UFC go to Latin America outside of Brazil or Mexico, say like Chile or Uruguay or other countries that you guys visited prior to the pandemic. Is that going to resume at some point, or is that on the
Yeah, it will. Not in 25. We answered a lot of these questions last week when we were in London. And we're hopeful getting into 26 and having new media rights landscape for us, both in the U.S. and also in a number of key territories around the world. It's going to open up the possibility. We've had a number of really successful events that if you talk to any of the staff members, the events that we had in Montevideo and in Santiago and in VA, everyone loved those. If you were a fan, you love them. So we're eager to get back, but no timetable for the return yet.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, over here.
Sir.
So you were in London last week. I know it's different markets, so it might be hard to compare, but in terms of success in each of the nights, how would you rate each of the nights here and in London?
Well, two completely different cards. We don't typically compare one event to the next. The general sentiment after the event was just what a remarkable night tonight was. Great energy level, incredible performances by a number of the Mexican athletes. Really loud. It was great, and it was sort of the perfect springboard to start planning Noche UFC for UFC 320 in September. So everyone's elated. We'll get back to Vegas for event next week, and then on to Miami.
And in that commitment that you're showing to Mexico, does that mean you'll get some more athletes from Mexico as well?
100%. We've run 2 combines at the Performance Institute. A number of those athletes have competed this week in Budo and Lux. We've had one athlete compete now after Contender Series into the UFC. So the future's bright for talent coming out of Mexico. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a great night.